Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah. know, Lord, whether I'm right or wrong. God bless you and good afternoon to you, our radio listeners. It is Saturday. It is the 1 p.m. hour, and you are listening to Global Gospel. I'm your host, Reverend Lamar Townsend, and as you know, we're here every Saturday from 1 p.m. until 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, sharing with you the gospel and the good news. We want you to know that we don't own the rights to any of the music on today, but we pray that every selection is a blessing to you, and to you, our listeners. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your neighbors to log on to www.blogtalkradio.com/global-gospel. Let them know that we are live and on the air. And you can take down this number if you decide to call in at the appointed time, 619-924-0800, 619-924-0800 is our call-in number. We want you to know that in addition to Blog Talk Radio, we are syndicated as well on Apple iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. So look for Global Gospel on those platforms. We would like for you to connect with us also on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Tumblr, we are on Instagram. If you go to our Facebook page, our Twitter page, or our Tumblr page, there's a direct link to each and every episode. So we encourage you to become our friend on those social media platforms. Join our page, like our page. Also comment on our page. Comment on Blog Talk Radio as well. Well, we want to shout out today our sponsors. Shout out to the sponsors, MPT Enterprise, Abyssinia, Third Lounge, Melanated Beards, Ryan Wilson, the Nationwide Black Family Mediation Services, Lois Glenn Carter, Happy Healthy Functioning. We thank God for you, and you. Grandma Etta's Quilting, we thank God for you as well. Shout out to the Townsends, the Normans, the Stevensons, the Locks, the Bradells, the Hernandez family, the Thompson family, the Wiggins, the Brinson, the Francis, the Allen, the Hartley, the Brown, the Latham, the Carters, the Walker, the McCoys. We thank God for all of you that are joining us on today. Thank God for you, and you. And certainly we do have a special treat lined up for you in just a few minutes. So we encourage you to stay tuned. If you would like to connect with Global Gospel, you can connect with us at P.O. Box 5331. That is in Hempstead, New York, where the zip code is 11550. Our email is globalgospel17@gmail.com. Please, we encourage you to join in with us and to share with us. For those of you that have tuned in for the first time, also shout out to our listeners around the world: New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, Michigan, Illinois, California, Mexico, Canada, Poland, Germany, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria, the United Kingdom, France, Spain, Portugal, Turkey, Kenya. Thank God for you, and for you. For those of you that have tuned in for the first time, our theme scripture here at Global Gospel comes from 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. And it is our prayer today that none be lost. We want you to know that Jesus came, that he lived, that he died for the sins of the world. We want you to know if you're down and out, if you're oppressed, if you're suicidal, if you just can't make it, if you're homeless, if you're jobless, if you're unemployed, the gospel is here today to heal you, to deliver you, to save you, and set you free. It is comprehensive. It meets every natural, every spiritual, every emotional, every physical need that you have in your life. And so we pray that you are encouraged on today. At this time, we are going to take a break. And after that break, you will be hearing from our guests on today. Stay tuned and be blessed. Jesus, lover of my soul. We are back. We are back, and you are listening to Global Gospel, and our special guests are here in studio today. All one, two, three of them are here, and certainly we want them to say hello. Hello, special guests. Tell us who you are. Whoever wants to go first.
All right, Edward, you go first.
All right. Hello. I am Edward Callahan. I am a pianist here in New York City, classical and gospel pianist, and I am the one that this really cool book is about that you'll hear about in a second.
All right. And thanks again for having us, Reverend Townsend. My name is Sonya Hollins, and my husband Sean Hollins is also here, and we are the parents of Edward Callahan, and together we created the book Little Eddie Goes to Carnegie Hall. So thanks for having us. And Sean, then if you want to say anything.
Sean, are you there? Can you hear us? Okay.
Okay, maybe he's on mute. That's okay.
Okay, he'll be with us shortly. All right. Well, I thank you, Ed, Sonya, and Sean, for sharing with Global Gospel on this Saturday afternoon, and certainly you have a tremendous work that you are going to share with us on today. So, as those of you that are listening and reading along, you know that today's episode is Little Eddie Goes to Carnegie Hall. And so the authors on the line, is this your first book?
Oh, no. Go ahead, Sean. You want to share more about what we do?
No, go ahead. Now, I'm going to fill in the details.
Okay, welcome, Sean. Glad to have you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right. So basically, Sean and I, our backgrounds are in journalism and graphic design. So about 2010, we created a publishing consulting firm called Season Press. And Sean's name is Sean, and my name is Sonya. So together, the first three letters of our names create Season. So Season Press started as a publishing consulting firm based on my first book I wrote called Here I Stand. It was a musical history of musicians from Battle Creek, Michigan. So if you know about Battle Creek, many people know it from the cereal. It was a cereal city because that's Kellogg's headquarters. But there were also a lot of musicians who started at a club called the El Grotto in Battle Creek, and Junior Walker and the All-Stars and Al Green and a lot of others got their start at this club. So as a journalist, I created this book, and other people start saying, wow, who did your book? And like, well, Sean and I did it. And from there, we just started helping other people fulfill their dreams to become self-published authors. So in the meantime, we've written Benjamin Lawford and his Handy Dandy Clippers. We've written Small Beginnings, a photographic journey through the life of Merce Tate. We've helped hundreds of other small, other people who wanted to self-publish create their own books as well. So our desire was to highlight Edward and his amazing talent as a musician through the book Little Eddie Goes to Carnegie Hall. So that's our fourth or fifth book that we've created together.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I learned something new today, and so certainly we'll have to discuss those other books at a later time as well. I think that's probably worthy of discussing. So we thank you for stepping out. So the inspiration behind this, obviously, is Little Eddie. And so what was the first step in this process?
Well, Edward has been taking piano lessons since he was 5 years old, and his piano teacher was Miss Billy. And, she's a woman who, from the beginning, Edward said he wanted to be a classical piano player and bow and wear a tuxedo. So all these years he's been preparing for these moments. to one day perform at Carnegie Hall. So Miss Billy has been instrumental in his life as a music teacher. And in turn, Edward has also helped other people, other young men, young boys, be excited about music as a music teacher as well. So Edward had told me about one of his students who had asked about what an audition was. And, it was just a cute little thing to me that this little boy didn't understand what an audition was. So my thought was, let's take Edward as a piano teacher and have him take a little piano student throughout New York on Edward's way to an audition at Carnegie Hall. So this little piano student of his follows him along through New York City, listening to the sounds of the city, the subway sounds, the sounds of musicians in the streets, the sounds of, coins clanking in a can, all different types of things. And this little boy gets to Carnegie Hall with his mentor, who is Edward's character. And then we find out later a twist in the whole thing at the end of the story. So basically it's just motivated from Edward and his amazing life and his desire to perform at Carnegie Hall one day. So this is a tribute to him and an encouragement to him, showing that we're proud of him. And at the same time, use something to inspire other young people to get into music, to know the history. We have a history of other black musicians who performed at Carnegie Hall in the book that the little boy learns about. And at the same time, just, highlight that there are a classical African-American male piano player out there who really has a desire to take his music to another level. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
That is really awesome. And so this is actually not Ed's first time here on Global Gospel. Minor keys, we featured minor keys when that first came out. I'm not sure we talked about etudes, but Ed has been here before, and I'm just going to let the audience hear briefly from the master himself. All right? So this is track 5, and then we're going to let Ed have his input on the book as well. Okay, Edward, that's your cue.
All right. I love it. That's one of my favorite etudes ever. It's the Chopin etude in F minor, Opus 10, number 9. Thank you for playing that. I know I wanted you to surprise me with one of my tracks, so thank you. So thank you again for having us. And Little Eddie Goes to Carnegie Hall was actually a surprise to me. I didn't even know. Yeah, I didn't even know they were writing a book about me. They didn't tell me anything. And I was doing a concert in Michigan, and I had a Zoom interview with one of the sponsors, the Kalamazoo Public Library. And they ended up jumping on the Zoom, and they unveiled the book to me then. And if you see the Zoom, I was literally so speechless. I didn't even react. I was just like, okay. I couldn't believe it because it was just too much to take in. So as time, as I finished my concert and got to play and actually saw the books and read it and started signing it, it really became surreal. And, it's so cool. I mean, to this day, I'm sending books out. I'm doing virtual readings. We're doing virtual Zoom readings. It's been really, really amazing.
Wow. So that is very flattering and humbling, I'm sure. What is it like to see yourself in a book?
It's really crazy, and the cool thing is, Carnegie Hall has always been my dream. That's always been the place where I've wanted to play. And we reached out to Carnegie Hall because we were just so excited. And they ended up picking up the books and selling them in their bookstores and in their gift shops as well. So that was really even more of a dream. But it was so cool just to see me and just to see some of my mannerisms and just how I am, portrayed onto a book and as a character. It was really, really cool. And just to see it be a young Black boy, so other young Black kids can see that, this is something that they can do as well. This is a career. This is, an option that they have as well. So it was really, really amazing to see.
That's awesome. And so being parents to a young Black man and being a young Black man, they both offer challenges in the world that we live in. And one of the things is that this is a positive image, promotes positive self-image. And what would your advice be to other parents and other young people and children as pertaining to how music can help you navigate through life?
I think that one way parents can do that is to actually support their kids, especially even when they're starting off. I know they bring the horn out and you're like, oh my goodness, what is this noise? But if they keep practicing, they will get better. And that encouragement from a parental standpoint is usually their biggest cheerleader. And when you're supporting from that stand, then they're able to connect with other musicians and see that I can do something besides play basketball or football or any other sports. Not that those are anything wrong with them, but they can do both. And one thing that when we looked at this book, what better way to immortalize our son with a book that kind of talks about his life journey. So it's not only that we motivated him and encouraged him when he was younger, but this continues to do that. And now it has turned twofold where he's actually encouraging other young Black men that music is okay. Sometimes there's a stereotype with music like, okay, well, you're a different kind of person. But no, Edward's a cool kid, always been, and he just happens to be able to be very talented playing the piano. And so I think those additional encouragements are great. When they bring certificates, put them up on the refrigerator, put them on the wall. Those things help motivate our kids, and especially Black men, to actually continue to keep excelling. So that's what we were looking to do, to continue to encourage him, continue to put attainable, reachable goals in front of him. I believe that he's going to get to a Carnegie. And after that, who knows? So those things are benchmarks and spiritual markers that we can use to actually cast a vision and see how God will bring that vision to fruition. So we're extremely proud of Edward, and I continue to use your talents and gifts to encourage other individuals.
Awesome. That is well said. And sometimes, perhaps culturally, classical music may not be the first sound that everyone is introduced to, maybe in a certain type of setting. And so it's a great thing that you're able to break barriers and also show a different side of the music world, that music is just not one-dimensional. It's just not one style of music or one genre of music, but you bring yourself to the table.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I like Edward to kind of share. I like Edward to share a little bit because we see the level that he's at now, and he's constantly practicing. He's constantly trying to get better. But I like Edward to talk a little bit, as you're talking about motivating kids, on what were some of the challenges as a young person that he had to deal with or overcome to even get to this level, and letting some parents realize that these challenges are real, and how do you help students get through those. So Edward, could you kind of maybe share some of the challenges there are being a young person, you know, on any path, particularly classical, and what are some things you have to go through to get to that level?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You know, one of the main challenges was the doubt, you know, from people that you were hoping would be on your side. I had a lot of issues with different professors in college and teachers who tried to deter me from the path and, you know, say, hey, maybe you should, you know, just do jazz music, or, hey, you know, you're playing in church, why don't you just keep doing that? You don't need to do classical. And they tried to pretty much say that it was something that we could not obtain, you know, and that was one of the hardest things to get through. And eventually I met my mentor, Damian Sneed, who became my professor, and he really encouraged me and really told me, hey, you can do this, you know, and he's conducting and he's working with Wynton Marsalis and everybody. So to see somebody, you know, that's actually doing it, it motivated me to say, you know what, okay, I have to keep going. And I get so many messages from other kids and, you know, students in college who are having some of those same issues. And they ask me for advice on how to get through it. And, you know, so it's a really common thing, and we all deal with it in our different fields, you know. But that was the hardest thing. You know, the discipline pretty much was pretty easy for me. As a child, it was hard to practice and, you know, hear kids playing outside and or just seeing the weather is nice and, you know, you want to go out but you have to practice. That was kind of hard, but now, you know, it's easy for me to do. But just getting through that doubt, you know, and succeeding, you know, after I released my first album and it hit the charts, the Billboard charts, and, you know, all of these doors started opening up, a lot of these teachers, you know, have messaged me and congratulated me and, oh, I always knew you could do it. I'm like, wait, what? You know, so sometimes, you know,
right.
sometimes you have to fight for a vision that, you know, only you can see, you know, and it can be really hard sometimes because you just don't know the outcome. You don't know. So that was the hardest thing. But once I got through the doubt and just started, you know, I released these albums myself. No manager, no publicist, no label, no budget. I just did it, you know, myself. And to know that I could do that and see the success and the support of everyone backing me, that's really all I needed. So, you know, next we're coming for the Grammys.
I hear you. That's really awesome. And so from the publishing perspective, from the recording perspective, as you said, everything has its challenges. And so where does that put your faith when you're being rejected by people that are supposed to be encouraging you, when you have little to no budget to work with? How does faith kick in?
That's a good question. So one of the things that I had to do, you know, for my first album, because I didn't understand how much it would cost, I didn't understand anything. I didn't understand the tracking weeks. I didn't understand what counted as a sale. So I really just started to research the charts. Before my album came out, I would look months in advance. I would look to see who's number one. I would research their profile and see how many followers they had and see how many likes they would get on a post. I just researched. And one day I saw somebody on Instagram who went number one, and they maybe had like 400 followers on Instagram. I said, whoa. I said, okay, so I don't need to have 1 million followers. I don't need to have 3 billion followers on TikTok and this and that. Like, I think I can do this. And so that's what really encouraged me to see that there were other platforms with less followers still making the success. And their albums were incredible, you know, and some of them had management and things like that. But I said, okay, you know what? I think I can do this. And as I started to release the album and get pre-orders and get the anticipation going and seeing it actually reflect electronically, you know, I was on the best pre-selling list and all of these things. I said, okay, you know, and I kept track of everybody that bought albums. I made a list number-wise so I knew what I could prepare for. So after that, and just seeing the chart, seeing that thing go number one and seeing it there for days and days and days, I knew, okay, I can do this. You know, I don't need a label. I don't need any of that. I can do it. And, you know, every dime that I made when I worked, I put some of it to the studio. I put some of it to my photo shoots. I put some of it to my wardrobe. I would just set a little bit aside so when it was time to do it, I was ready. So that's kind of how it started.
Awesome. Seasoned press.
It'd be wrong for us not to even acknowledge God in this because he grew up in the church. He's still working as a musician in the church. Vision is the ability to see things that aren't right now and make that happen, which chimes right into faith, substance of things hoped for, and evidence of things not seen. So for him to cast that vision of being able to do what he's done that he has never done is stepping out on God. And the same with him getting to Carnegie, speaking those things that aren't as though they were. So it's that God piece that also is a key factor in making sure that we are lining up. He's walking in his passion. He's walking in his purpose. He's giving back to God by serving the church and in the capacity of a musician. So he's not just sitting back waiting for something to happen. So that vision and that faith piece steps way outside of yourself and trusting God that he's going to make this thing happen. So he was prepared. He was prepared for that moment. I believe if he's called to go to Carnegie right now, he's prepared. So it's just a matter of waiting because it's going to happen. And from a parental standpoint, being able to watch him operate from a faith capacity is huge. And it helps our other children saying, man, your brother did this, and he's able to achieve things because of faith.
Right. Awesome. Well said. So we want to give our listeners an opportunity to purchase this awesome work here, and we're actually going to talk about the illustration as well because it's very bright, vibrant, and colorful, and it's very attractive to the young eye. So we're going to take a brief break, and we'll come back, and you can tell us how they can purchase this book, and you can give some shout-outs. Our number in studio, 619-924-0800. So our listeners, you have a chance. Pick up your phone. Get ready. 619-924-0800. This is from Etudes. Stay tuned. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with Sonya and Sean Hollins and Edward Callahan as well. Little Eddie Goes to Carnegie Hall. That was track 4 from Etude. There's 2 projects out there that you can purchase, and we'll get back to that. But Sonya and Sean, there is an illustrator that is attached to this. Tell us who your illustrator is.
So Dan Monroe is we're here in Michigan. So Dan Monroe is a local artist who, I mean, he's incredible. And the way I found Dan was I was doing some work with the public media news station, and I had a show called Let's Talk Books where I interviewed local people about the books that they've done. And so Dan actually was an illustrator, and one of the books he illustrated was for Dennis Rodman. And when I was interviewing him, I was like, oh, my gosh, that's so cool. He's done books for a lot of athletes, a lot of illustrations for books for athletes. And so I asked him if he would be interested in this project, and he was like, for sure, that would be amazing. So we collaborated, and, we kind of just shared the vision with him. He did the work, and then Sean, because he's a, awesome graphic artist, was able to do the book design and layout, add some additional aspects to it. We have in there some historic photos of, like, Duke Ellington and, some other amazing people in music history, Florence Price, George Walker, Louis Armstrong, Nina Simone. So we were able to take those historic images and input those into the book as well to kind of show that, Eddie is learning about some amazing, African Americans in music history who also had a connection to Carnegie Hall. So putting together a book is a team effort. Not only, you don't just write it, but you also have to have the illustrations, and you have to have the graphic designer and all that works together to create the project. So, Dan was a great collaborator on that project, and we are happy to have him involved in this as well.
Awesome. So how can our listeners purchase Little Eddie Goes to Carnegie Hall?
All right, you want to share that with them, Edward?
Sure. There are a few different ways that you can purchase them. You can purchase them on Amazon. You could just type in Little Eddie Goes to Carnegie Hall, and it's right there. And if you have a Prime membership, it ships even faster. And we have a hardcover and a softcover copy. So depending on which one you like, you can also get it on the Carnegie Hall bookstore on the website. So if you want to get it from Carnegie Hall itself, you can go to carnegiehall.com and you can go to their gift shop and look it up there. And if you want to just reach out to any one of us directly, you can reach us on Facebook, just type in our names. And if you want to get the signatures, we can sign them for you and ship them out as well. So just depending on what you're looking for, or if you buy it and you just want to wait to get the signatures, sometimes you can do that. But there's many ways to get it, and so just look out for it.
So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Get your copy. Little Eddie Goes to Carnegie Hall. I have my copy, and it's an awesome teaching moment as well. There's a glossary in here. It explains some musical terms as well. So it's just not just all fun and games and entertainment, but certainly it is there for you to learn along with the young person in your life. Number in studio, 619-924-0800. Caller, are you there?
Good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon, everyone. This is Marlon P. Townsend calling in to shout out Reverend Townsend, Mom, Dad, and my brother, Little Eddie, who I've had the opportunity to share the stage with on a few occasions. Just want to call and say thank you to each and every one of you for paving the way and keeping the way paved. And I'm still looking forward to going platinum and triple platinum.
Thank you. Yeah, Marlon, we did the Committed musical together with Jerome Brooks. He was the drummer and I was the pianist. So we worked together for weeks and weeks at a time on musicals and all over the city. He's amazing. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Take care.
Listener, 619-924-0800. We have a few minutes to spare. So Sonya and Sean, who are entrepreneurs, who are the inspirations in your life? I know that Edward is inspired by YouTube, but who are some of your inspirations and influences?
Sean, you want to go first?
Sure. For myself, it's both sides of my family, from my mom and my dad's side. We had owned grocery stores and had small hotels, and so I grew up seeing that, and I did equip myself with the skills needed to do a business that I enjoy doing, that I would do for free, but people want to pay me for it. So it's a passion, it's a gift. I like designing, and it's something that comes easy, and I enjoy doing it. And so to turn that into something that we're actually able to help other people create their visions, whether it's a logo, whether it's a book, whether it's a brochure or whatever it is, that passion kind of continues to boil in me that I'm able to do that. So the entrepreneur was easy to step out to. Again, got to step out on faith because there's some unknowns in that, but again, trusting God that He's going to continue to provide. So, and give a shout out to my wife that's an amazing writer and her passion as well.
Yeah, for me, I never really looked at becoming an entrepreneur. My passion was, writing. My background is in journalism, and my dream was to work for the New York Times. So that was something always on my list. So, I worked as a journalist. I did some work with Black Enterprise magazine and some local newspapers and other state magazines. So I love history, and I love travel. So I was able to use those two passions to help other people not only self-publish, but I have an organization called the Merz Tate Explorers, and it helps girls. We travel the world, and they also create their own magazine every quarter. So as an entrepreneur, I feel using your passions to help other people is basically the focus of what I do. I love to see people when they see their book for the first time, and it's like a baby that they've, helped birth, and bring to life. So it's a blessing to be able to help people's dreams of writing come to life, along with, Sean and the talents that he brings. And then with the travel, to see girls, when they see the Eiffel Tower, or they're riding in gondolas in Venice, or they're eating food in Japan, it's just a blessing to be able to use my talents and gifts to help, bring some excitement to other people's lives, and to be able to do that for my children as well. So, it's just a blessing that, Edward has been able to see his dream and be able to watch this journey that he's on, along the way. And, there were times when I was, taking him to piano lessons and my muffler was falling off, and, all kind of things like that. It was all for a purpose, a bigger purpose. And as parents, we have to sacrifice and do things to help our children's dreams come to fruition. So it's just a blessing that God has allowed me to watch this journey in Edward's life. So I'm just so proud of him. Yeah.
That's awesome. Most of us have owned at least one hoopty in our lives. So some of us more than others. So listen, it's a part of the struggle. It's part of the progress. It's part of the process,
right.
So listen, we have to do what we have to do to get where we need to be. We have another caller. Our number is studio 619-924-0800. Caller, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes. Really enjoying the show. Just really want to get some advice for any young music fans, in the sense of, you have a young person that wants to become a pianist. What advice would you give as far as, getting into the space as far as professional music?
All right. Who are you? Who are you, and where are you calling from, sir?
Elijah Hayward calling from New York City.
Okay.
Oh, Elijah, yeah, this is one of my friends. I put on Facebook, I said if anybody calls in, I'll give them a copy of Little Eddie. So I think that's
well, I definitely want to copy the book for my godson, but no, I respect what you're doing, and I am interested because I have a lot of nieces and nephews who are young, and I would love to just know what advice you would give by way of just getting them on the right track by way of music.
Yeah, good question. One of the things that I really enjoyed and that I used to do when I was younger was just go to concerts and seeing someone that looks like me that was able to be there. when I was younger, I went to the Gilmore Keyboard Festival, and there was a pianist by the name of Andre Watts, who's actually the very first Black concert pianist to reach, international fame. And I met him, and I met Raymond Harvey, the very first Black conductor of the Kalamazoo Symphony Orchestra. And I just met all of these people who are doing exactly what I want to do. And eventually I ended up playing for that Gilmore concert last year. They called me to play, which was kind of like a complete circle. But going to concerts, I think for kids, going and seeing them, getting to meet some of these artists, just watching on YouTube. Sometimes I'll watch with some of my younger students who are 5, 6, 7 years old, just watching so they can see it on a video. And, just continue to encourage them. I think that's really the main thing. Even my young students, they're like, oh, I can never play like you. And I was like, oh, no, you're going to be so much better than me. And they're like, what? Really? So just to continue to encourage them and, whatever direction they want to go in. I did everything when I was younger. I did Little League. I did Boy Scouts. I did karate. I did tennis. I was all over the place, but once we got to the piano, I was like, okay, this is it. Then we were able to take off. So just continue to encourage them. You can always FaceTime me. I can talk to them personally, and all of that good stuff. And I think that will help them a lot.
Awesome. Well, Elijah, we're going to make sure
thank you very much.
We'll make sure you get a copy, and certainly we're going to give you one compliment of MPT Enterprise Marlin for your family members, and certainly we do want Ed to give away. He's going to give away another one. So our number in studio 619-924-0800. You have a few minutes left. You can still catch us here live. All right. Thank you. All right. Shout out. Did everyone shout out? I didn't hear any shout outs today. Who would you like to shout out? I know the whole family's on right now. Mom, Dad, and you can't shout out Mom and Dad. Well, you can shout them out here, but you can shout out his son. He's here too. Perhaps there's somebody that isn't on with us that you want to shout out.
I want to shout out my siblings, my little brother and my little sisters, Shamil, Cyan, and Sasha. They are doing incredible things. They're in their own lanes, and they are really dominating in it. So I want to shout out to them. Just shout out to everyone who's, pursuing their dreams and going for their goals. That's what I want to shout out.
Okay. Any other shout outs? Okay. All right. So, once again, we encourage you all. Little Eddie Goes to Carnegie Hall. And technically speaking, since you can purchase Little Eddie Goes to Carnegie Hall from Carnegie Hall, Little Eddie's already in Carnegie Hall in one aspect.
Yes.
So if we look at it from that way, we're already there. And so we're just waiting for the next step. But certainly we thank you all for sharing with us on this Saturday afternoon, for being positive role models for our community, positive Black role models, positive Black male role models, and also for what you do with helping the young Black girls travel, being in business for yourself and promoting Black wealth and Black entrepreneurship. And listen, we don't have to be a part of any statistic, but the statistic that we make for ourselves. And so it is so important that we keep God first in whatever we do. And certainly we know that he will take care of everything else. So at this time, I'm going to let everyone, Sonya, Sean, and Edward, you can give your conclusion for today. And we want to remind our listeners, if you perhaps missed anything, you can log back on at the 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time hour. The whole show is there for you to listen to, and also on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. Closing remarks for this Saturday afternoon and encouragement to our listeners.
Sean, you can go first, and then I'll go, and then Edward can wrap it up.
I'd like to thank you for for the radio station and the host for continue to keep Black excellence in front of our people, highlighting and showing the strength of what we do in different capacities, different facets in life. That's huge because everybody is not a piano player, but you're able to show different aspects of what we do in an excellent way. Thank you for hosting. Thank you for the challenging questions, the diving deep questions that are inspiring to other individuals that are listening. And shout out to Edward. Keep doing your thing. Shout out to my wife. Keep doing your thing. You're definitely an inspiration to our community and the people around us. And again, I appreciate you. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll echo that. Thank you for this opportunity to highlight people in the New York community and all around, giving Edward the opportunity to share more of his story, because if we don't share our stories, then a lot of times it just won't get shared unless it's something negative. So I just appreciate you for the positivity that you're bringing through the internet waves and the airwaves. And I like what you said. Edward's already in Carnegie Hall, so we're just going to claim that because he's already in there with the book, and that is just some other steps that God needs to line up to get him on that stage. So, thank you for saying that. And I, also just want to encourage Edward as the book continues to stay out there. We're going to have it in Spanish pretty soon, so we'll have it translated into different languages, and then also I'm encouraging him to do a musical story of it. So whereas kids are listening to it, they can listen to it, with some music that he's composed specifically for the book. So prayerfully that'll be coming up pretty soon, where he'll just make like a little soundtrack to the book to go along with it as parents read it with their kids, and maybe he's reading it as he's playing as well. So we're going to work on just taking the book to another level too. So so thank you again for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. That is really awesome, and we're going to stay tuned to that. And when you're in New York, I guess we'll have to set up some kind of book signing or something. So we definitely got to keep the connections open. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yes.
Sonya.
Yes, thank you again for for hosting us. We really appreciate it. Thank you, to my parents for just believing in me and continuing to push me and encourage me. Thank you for all the listeners that tuned in, that spent your Saturday afternoon with us. We really appreciate it. And I'm also going to be working on my third album, which is going to be an album of ragtime by Scott Joplin. So I want you all to look out for that. My mom has been wanting me to do an album by a Black composer for years. So this one is going to be epic. So I'm already planning a lot of really cool things. So it should be out in the next month and a half to 2 months. So just be on the lookout for that. It's going to be my first album with just an all-Black composer. And Scott Joplin was one of my main influences when I was younger, because he was, a Black composer, and he was the only one that I could see in the history books and in the piano books that looked like me. So I always wanted to be like Scott Joplin when I was younger. So I'm super excited for that album. So get ready for that. And yes, we love you and we thank you.
Awesome. So again, we thank you all for sharing with us on today, and certainly we are going to thank you for all our listeners in New York and Michigan and around the world. Thank God for you, and you. And certainly we're going to close in prayer. Well, would one of you like to close in prayer, or do you want me to do it? Okay. Silence. All right. Okay, and we're going to close in, and we're going to have a closing selection. We're going to close with Everyday Jesus, Anthony Brown. Gracious God, our Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for your loving kindness. We thank you for your tender mercy. We thank you for the gifts that are inside Sonya, Sean, Edward, Dan. We thank you for how they are sharing their God-given talents with the world. God, we pray that you bless them as only you can. Bless them in the city, bless them in the field, bless them coming in and going out. God, we thank you for the music that is in their life. We thank you for their businesses that are in their life, God. God, do exceedingly and abundantly above all we can ask or think, God. Whoever's listening today, we pray that someone was encouraged, someone was uplifted and inspired to be all that you would have them to be. And as we leave this particular session, we ask you to continue to bless us and keep us, to cover us with your blood, to give us your traveling mercy. In Jesus' name, we thank you and we praise you. Amen. Every day, Jesus.
When I'm sick or if I'm down, I know you'll always be around. When I'm low and afraid, he's right there to save the day. When I'm up so high, I know he's the reason why. No worry, no fear, he'll always be right there. Right there. Shaya, Daya, 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 Shaya, Daya, Shata, Shaya, 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 Daya, 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 Shaya. He's my everyday kind of friend, and every day he's right here with us. Yes, he is. Every day I can depend on my friend, my everyday Jesus. My